Hi guys, so before we start the review, again as like last week, there is a spoiler review coming your way. So I will be spoiling Season 2, Episode 2 from Gotham, possibly as well Season 2, Episode 1, which was last week's episode, and also possibly Season 1. So if you haven't watched Season 1 and Season 2, Episode 1, then go back and watch them. Or if you want to watch my videos in order, go back and watch Season 2, Episode 1 review, which was Damned If You Do, which was last week's video, and then come back and watch this one. Also, if you've watched past Episode 2, as I know some of my friends have, please do not post spoilers in the comments, because I want to be as surprised as everyone else when it airs on Channel 5. Thank you very much guys, enjoy the video. Okay guys, so last night was Season 2, Episode 2 of Gotham, titled Knock Knock, and the title itself I can only assume is kind of a reference to the age-old knock knock jokes, and I assume it's kind of preluding to Jerome, who is at the moment in my mind going to be turning into the Joker, so I assume it's kind of his idea of a personal joke as he's now using Gotham as his personal playground. So yeah, that's what I imagine the title. So hopefully you guys agree with that. If you don't, then post what you think it was about. Post what the title was about in the comments down below. So then, as last week, I had my 5-word or under review. We're going to have another one. We're going to have one per episode. So this week's 5-word or under review is only 3 words long, and the 3 words are what just happened. Now, Season 2, Episode 2 is probably my favourite episode so far of Gotham. So we're going to go through again as in characters, and we're going to start with heroes and then go on to the villains in the second half of the review. So first of all then, let's start with the main hero, Jim Gordon. So Jim Gordon this week was so much better than he was last week. He's back on top form again in the GCPD, and he's heroic as ever as he saved the cheerleaders on the from the burning bus, or rather the bus that was going to be set on fire. He managed to drive it away and save it, but more on that in a bit. So then he was beaten up by Aaron later on in the episode during the attack on the GCPD. Again, there'll be more on that later on. And I think there was such a lovely moment when he was reunited with Bruce Wayne again. So Bruce Wayne last week, I forgot to mention, kind of told him to grow up a bit almost. Bruce Wayne told Jim Gordon that he should, choose the correct way or the right way, rather than choosing, so then maybe the way to go about it wasn't the right way, but it was the right way for that situation he was in last week. So yeah, but Bruce basically came to GCPD after hearing that he'd been attacked, and found Jim Gordon there. And Jim Gordon, he was just, it was really lovely, and he apologised to Jim, and it was all really nice that they made up and everything. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And the death of Essen, which we'll come back to in a minute, which I was sad about, but I'll come back to that in more detail. So the death of Essen possibly is now leading the way to Commissioner Gordon, which obviously he is in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. He is Commissioner Gordon, and he is in the comic books as well, Commissioner Gordon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if this could be the step up that he needs to Commissioner. Alright, so then Harvey Bullock. Oh, hello. Harvey Bullock is my second character on my list. 2 words. He's back! So he's back on the GCPD following the death of Essen, which is so good because I really hoped he would be back. Although in the bar he did give Jim Gordon a lead for the case of the breaking out of the criminals, saying, why did they kill the people at the shipyard, or whatever it was. But yeah, why did they kill it? And he followed it up, and that kind of gave them the hint and the lead that they needed. So thank you for, well done Bullock, in my opinion. And he's got a girlfriend, which I think we knew from last week. I don't know if it was mentioned, but I think it was. She's the same woman from, if you've watched Season 1, episode 13, The Fearsome Dr. Crane. She's the woman who Harvey saves after she's thrown into a swimming pool by Dr. Crane, to try and get her fear glands after she's died, so that he can inject him and his son Jonathan, who will later become the Scarecrow, to stop them from having fear. However, as you know, if you watch season 1, it goes completely wrong, and Jonathan becomes scared of the thing he was trying to be not scared of. So yeah. So Captain Essen then, or Commissioner Essen, should I say, she was killed by Jerome in the attack at the end of the episode on the GCPD. It was really upsetting because I really liked her, and she's only just become commissioner. So they just developed her storyline last week, and I was so happy about that. And then they just went and killed her, which was a bit annoying, and I'm quite upset about. But hopefully Jim is going to replace her. So we've now got kind of a cliffhanger who's going to replace her. Hoping it's Jim, but to be fair, if it's not Jim, it has to be anyone but Loeb. I cannot have Loeb being commissioner again because he was the one that fired Jim Gordon. And I was quite upset they did kill her after she'd said to Jim, her and Jim had the little "it's a new day" conversation. I was really looking forward to seeing this new day being created, and then they killed Essen, which was confusing because I think she's in the comic books. I'm pretty sure she is in the comic books, unless it's something to do with her with the same name. But that was a bit of a weird way of killing her off. So Bruce and Alfred. When Bruce was trying to get onto his father's computer down in the Batcave, and Alfred decided he's going to smash it up because he doesn't feel like Bruce is ready. And I was quite upset for Bruce. I felt really sorry for him. But then I felt sorry for Alfred as well, because then straight after that, Bruce decided to fire Alfred as his butler, and I thought that was a really quite heart-wrenching scene when Alfred came to say goodbye to him, because he's been with him for the whole first season, and he's been his guardian, and he's almost watched him grow up into this, into a young man who's really respectful of his, of his friends and of his. He's really cautious, and he's got this kind of whole different aspect on life now because of Alfred. But it was really good to see them make up again at the train station before Alfred left. And now Alfred has agreed to train Bruce again, but this time more to survive life, essentially, rather than just how to fight. So hopefully we're going to start to see this Batman kind of initiation thing where Bruce is now going to start becoming and training to be Batman in the future. So Lucius Fox, the final hero or good person. So it's quite an interesting involvement, I think, that so early, that they brought him in so early, because it proves that he's known Bruce a long time before he becomes Batman. So it's starting to build now the connections from Bruce Wayne into Batman, and I really like that idea that they're starting this so early. I wonder if it's because they're worried that they might not get a third season, so they're kind of thinking, well, if we do it quickly, if we start building it up quicker, then we can just extend this period, which I quite like the idea of doing. So the scene with Lucius Fox and Alfred was funny, but also really quite emotional, was really quite nice, as Alfred asked Lucius to help him with Bruce and bringing up Bruce to become this man that Alfred wants him to be, but also that Bruce wants to become. But I don't really know whether he can trust Lucius. I mean, obviously I've watched the Dark Knight trilogy, and in that, obviously, we can trust Lucius. We feel like we can trust him. But now in Gotham, I'm a bit put off and a bit perturbed by Lucius's standing. So yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting. So on to the villains then. We have Edward Nygma first of all. So his argument this week, he had another argument with himself like last week, and this argument this week was only quite short, but it was still really good, and it's really good to see him developing, and the Riddler is now becoming a bit more insistent, a bit more powerful over Nygma himself, and I think he's starting to feel the pressure now. But the evilness of the Riddler versus the slight insanity of Nygma is brilliant still. It's getting really good. And when GCPD was attacked, he actually saved Miss Kringle. And I thought that was really nice. It shows he still has like kind of humane emotions rather than just being the Riddler. So that was good. Now I'm going to have a separate bit for Barbara and Jerome in a minute, but I'm just going to have the Maniacs as a whole. So the opening scene where they were throwing bodies off the roof of the Gotham Gazette, the bodies of the ship workers that they basically kidnapped and killed, or they were killing at the time. So that was interesting, just to watch them spell out the name of their group. The attack on the school bus was both exciting and scary. There was nervous tension there, definitely, as Jerome took lead, and you could tell he was taking the lead because he's a leader of this maniacs group, we imagine. And then it was a bit weird, because then they attacked the GCPD, which was, for me, was unexpected. But it was so horrific that they killed everybody inside the GCPD. Anyone that was in the building, apart from Jim, who was distracted by Barbara, who we'll come on to in a minute. Leslie, who hid in the medical examination room, so she's safe, which is good because I really like Leslie. And Nigma and Miss Kringle. I mean, there are a few police officers that weren't killed, but most of the GCPD was wiped out by 4 members of the Maniacs group, which was quite impressive, I think, to watch. This whole what was going on. So I really want to know what's going to happen next with them, and I think it'd be really good to see. Okay, so next on to Barbara, so Jim's ex-girlfriend. Watching her and Tabitha whipping Mayor James into submission was quite funny, but also at the same time it was quite horrible because Mayor James, I don't think he's really done anything wrong. He's not been the best mayor for Gotham, but he hasn't done really anything wrong. And then also when she turned to Theo Galavan and she said, when's my time coming? Because I think she's really keen now she's out of Gotham to actually, when she's out of Arkham even, to really kind of start making her revenge on Jim Gordon and on Gotham as a city. So, but when she phoned Jim Gordon and then distracted him and actually led him out of the GCPD building when the attack was going on. But then she had Aaron beat him up, which was a bit of a weird thing, and then she kissed him. So what I was really confused about was whether she was distracting him or whether she's just keeping him alive, or is she just playing him? So was she keeping him alive this time but then trying to kill him another time? We'll have to see. So I want to see what's next for her. Jerome as a character is fantastically... his development this season is going to be brilliant, I'm sure. Last night's episode, his character development is fantastic already, and that's 2 episodes in. So his first commanding role at the beginning of the episode was brilliant. So when he was commanding which bodies to throw off and when, and then he was trying to decide what to do with the final body, and he drew the exclamation mark on it, and then threw and got Aaron, I think it was, to throw him off the building. That was really good. His laugh, I love his laugh. It's so demonic, but it's lovely and it's brilliant. The scene with the Russian roulette style game was tense. It was so well written and acted. So he held a gun to his head and she was saying, pulled the trigger, not a bullet didn't come out. Then he pulled it, then he held it somewhere else. I can't remember. I think it was to the other side or to his chin. Did it there, nothing. Did it there, said something else. Pulled the trigger, nothing. He stayed alive, and that made him the leader of the Maniacs. He was brilliant during the bus attack, but he was even better during the GCPD attack. He led the attack so well, and then his video at the end, after he just killed Captain Essen, was so scary, but so enthralling and exciting at the same time. So I'm really looking forward to, as well, to seeing his storyline and where we go with that. So final villains that were in last night's episode: Theo and Tabitha Galavan, sorry. So they're great character development this week for these two. They actually got a bit more screen time than they did last week, so I'm not as disappointed as I was with them last week, having only 5 minutes. I really love the plan, Theo's plan to kind of cleanse Gotham with fire and blood. So it foreshadowed the episode. So obviously when they tried to set the school bus on fire to get headlines, that was going to be a fire. So that's fire. And blood was where they went to the GCPD and just slaughtered everyone by shooting them, basically. I think that's kind of what he meant by fire and blood. His trickery of Mayor James was really clever as well. So where he said, there's a spider in this jar. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to open the hatch on the box on your head and put the spider in. And he kind of, he did what he wanted him to do, which obviously you're going to do when faced with one of your biggest fears, I think. At least I hope you would. If you, otherwise you might be a bit psychotic yourself. And then Tabitha's assassination of one of the maniacs after the bus attack, after Jim Gordon came and tried to arrest the one that was left there. Tabitha then shot him from a rooftop, and no one knew who did it, but the audience, we know who's done it because we saw Tabitha then putting the gun away. And I think that's really good, her character, the fact that she's willing to go to such lengths so that her and her brother won't be found out, trying to protect themselves. I think that's a really good character development for her. So we're going to see, we're going to see more of Tabitha because she's in the comic book, so we should be seeing more of her. I'm not sure how long, whether Theo's going to stay around for a bit. Hopefully he's going to stay around for a few more episodes. I hope they won't kill him off, to be honest, because I really like him. So, because James Frayne is such a brilliant actor and I really like him. So yeah, there's that. Now, finally, just a bit of an upset, to be honest, was that I was sad that Penguin, Selina Kyle, Victor Zsasz and Butch Gilzean were completely absent from this episode. Now, they have done a few episodes where some of the main characters have been absent before, but I was just really upset that Penguin, who I've loved in previous episodes, he wasn't in it. And I was, but maybe they might use him in future episodes to get with them, if he, because he's a criminal, if they might get him to talk to the maniacs, which would be quite interesting to see how him and Jerome get on. I'll be quite interested to see if that works, if that happens. And Selina Kyle, possibly, maybe the same thing, but I doubt it. Selina Kyle might have a more storyline with Bruce yet, we don't know. I'm hoping she does because I really like them two together, they're really cute on screen. Victor Zsasz and Butch obviously depends on when Penguin comes back into it because they are essentially his henchmen, so we need to wait and see when Penguin comes into it again. So I'm sure we will see more of them, but it just might not have been relevant to last night's storyline. But there was so much crammed in that any more characters I think might have made it too overcrowded. So my overall conclusion then, it's a great continual season 2. It was a very confident episode and probably my favourite yet of Gotham overall. Long may it continue, I think, long may it continue on to the rest of season 2. So my overall rating then, in terms of numbers, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because it was fantastic in terms of what they crammed into it. But as I say, I would like to have seen Penguin and, and Catwoman, even if Butch and Victor Zsasz weren't in it. I just want to see Penguin mainly because I love him so much as a character. He's such a brilliant actor, Robin Lord Taylor. So yeah, but thank you again guys for another fantastic episode of Gotham. Thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And now I'm just going to leave you, so for the rest of the series, so looking forward to the rest of the series, I'm going to leave you with the words of Jerome from his video. See you later.
Time to go. But don't worry, we'll be back very soon. Hang on to your hats, folks, because you ain't seen nothing yet.